And we are back on planet, my friends, surveying the scene, our father in the sky, Mothra. We are flying right now over to our encased industrial beam facility over by the lagoon, because in today's episode, we need to make our way to phase 3. We are going to build out our automated wiring factory. And to do that, we have to unlock the ability to produce stators, an item that we have yet to produce, but very crucial for not only the automated wiring recipe, which I'll show you in a second, but also to produce motors, which we will need a near endless supply of as we progress through the game. So in this episode here on the Green Hand Games, I'm going to show you how to build a factory that will produce 30 stators per minute. So what a beautiful scene here. I'm coming over here because I know we have a copper node right about there that we haven't tapped into. I know there's another iron node around here, and I know there's plenty of coal. And the reason I need those, well, let's just pop on over here, throw an assembler down, and I will show you. So our goal today is to build out 2.5 automated wiring per minute. So one assembler creating automated wiring, which means we need stators and cable. Now we only need 2.5 stators a minute and 50 cable a minute. We can easily make the cable from a copper node by producing wire and then producing cable. So that's not too hard to set up, but the stators are a little bit more complex because what do we need for stators? Well, we need steel pipe, and to make steel pipe, we need iron and coal. And then we also need 40 wire per minute, but we're going to be producing 30 stators per minute because I just want to go a little overkill. This might be all the stators you really need to produce unless you're really maxing out the game. So here is our factory design for 30 stators per minute. This does not take any alternative recipes into account. Why? I don't have them yet, and you might not have them yet in your playthrough. So we need 120 copper ore. We're going to be smelting that to produce 120 ingots, and we're going to be making wire from that. Wire is really just a 1 ingot to 2 wire ratio. So we need 8 constructors to make that, and that's our end product going into our stator assemblers. And then of course, to make our pipes, we need coal and iron pushing into foundries, which actually it's a really even ratio because foundries take 45 of each. So 135 divided by 3 is 45. So it's actually a pure ratio without any under or overclocking. That's going to produce our 135 steel ingots, which will go into our pipe constructors for 90 pipes a minute. And again, going into our assemblers. And if you ever do want to calculate this in game, just notice that one assembler makes 5 stators a minute. Right? So we want 30 stators a minute divided by 5. So we need 6 assemblers. And then we just take these numbers and multiply them by 6. So our steel pipes times 6, 15 times 6, that's 90. And our wire is 40 times 6, 240. And if you want to, you can then go down in the production chain and calculate out those ratios as well. So for wire, looks like 15 ingots makes 30 wire. So we basically double our ingot input, which means we have to half our wire input to figure out how many ingots we need. So 240 divided by 2, that's 120. So you can see the math maps out to the way that the Satisfactory Tools calculator has designed it. I just wanted to give you an option to do it yourself. So what we need to do is round up 120 copper and 135 each of both iron and coal. So let's go check this copper node and see what we've got. Okay, we can make this work. It's a normal node, so it's going to give us 60, and we're just going to put a Mark II miner on it. That will give us 120. Found a weird cave. We're going to take the Mercer Spheres where we can get them, guys. You cannot get enough of these. Okay, we have a normal coal node here, so we have to toss a Mark II miner on it, I believe. And yeah, we have to toss a Mark II miner on and overclock it just a touch. Something that's handy is you can either change the clock speed by typing it in or dragging it. And you can also just change the target production rate so you don't have to do that math. So I'll just type in 135 here, and whatever that ends up being, 112.5%, that's fine. Oh, check it out. I figured it out. The parachute floating technique. If you get right next to some ridges, it'll float you upwards sometimes, which is super handy. I'll try to do it again for you guys. There you go. See that? You can kind of surf off the ground sometimes. It's pretty handy. Okay, we have to come up here because there's no close iron down there, but there's actually quite a bit right up here. So we're going to ferry this iron downwards. Okay, an impure node is not enough. We need to really overclock that to get anything worthwhile. So let's try to find one that's at least normal. You just know when you see a lot of them, they're not going to be high quality. Oh, how annoying is that, guys? How annoying is that? All right, well, what we'll do is we'll go chain the 2 impure nodes together and overclock both to get to our 135. So Mark IIs on these two impures are producing 60 each. We need 135, so we need at least one of these to be producing 15 more. We'll go to 75 there. It's not ideal using 2 nodes and an overclocked power shard here, but it is what it is. Okay, so all of our node inputs are set up. We just need to connect them all together and build a workspace. So what I'm gonna do is come on down here because our copper's over there. Our coal is right there. And I need to drop this iron down rather than bringing both of these up. It's just gonna be the easier way to do it. So what I'm gonna do is build a platform out this way, and I will show you a cool conveyor lift hack that gets it all the way down to the bottom without looking terrible. What we're gonna do is throw a floor hole right in the middle, and we're on the world grid here. It's really important because then it's easier. Press R, reverse it, and now we have a hole that will accept some inputs. Let's just put it that way. All right, once this is powered up, we don't even have to come back up here at all if we don't want to. Something I like to do when I'm running power downwards is I'll change this to a wall outlet, and I'll just put it like right about there or so. And then as we go down, I will run that all the way down. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I need to get a lift directly up into this connection point, this floor lift hole. So I'm just going to step right off the side, float down, hopefully not move my position too much, pop my parachute right here, press C, cancel, and throw foundations down. So I need to throw some simple foundations down, just like that. And maybe I will obelisk some of these trees out of the way. Sorry, deforestation commencing, so I can look straight up. So I think I nailed it. What you want to do is basically connect it all the way up there, but sometimes you can't reach it. It does have to be perfectly in line, but sometimes you can't reach it. I look like I'm on point here, so I'm probably just not able to jump high enough. So I'm going to build a quick vertical platform here, throw some stairs on it. Later on, it'll be a lot easier to do this because you don't have to stick on the ground like a simple peasant as much. And there we go. That is exactly what we wanted to happen. As long as you have the materials for the lift that you're building, you can build this all the way up to the max build height in the entire game, which is honestly kind of hilarious. So it's coming out down here. So now our iron is all sorted, and we need to actually plumb the factory up and design the build. 2 beautiful lines of iron and coal coming in. Let's do our foundries first. I'm going to try to show you how to do a vertical factory. So this is the first element of verticality we'll have added, because even our encased industrial beam factory, as you can see here, it's just flat on one surface. So let's try to dress it up just a touch. I'm trying to give you little steps up. Nothing too crazy here that's going to make you intimidated, because honestly, that's what happened to me when I first started playing this game. So I want to have 2 inputs here. So we'll do 2 conveyor walls just like that. And we will bring our inputs in like this. We're going to take our lift and bring this down. This is going to take our iron, and that's going to take our coal, because our iron is on the inside lane here. Our iron's coming in, our coal is coming in, both of these at 135 a minute. And these are going into 3 foundries. So our 135 steel ingots will be produced as soon as we turn our power on, and we need 4.5 constructors making pipes with these. Now, of course, we could have used the alternate recipe of iron pipe and bypassed using coal altogether, but I wanted to show you the more basic recipe because a lot of you may have not found this iron pipe recipe already. But just to show you it, it's 100 iron ingots per minute for 25 steel pipe. So basically 100 iron ore for 25 pipe, whereas our steel pipe recipe is 30 steel ingots for 20 pipe. So it's just a simpler recipe. You don't have to use coal, but you pay for it a little bit in the way of, you know, a worse production ratio. You're using more ore in iron than you would have been otherwise. So like I mentioned, we need 4.5 constructors making our pipe here. And this is where blueprints come in handy yet again. We have our 4 constructor array. If you're having trouble with it kind of sinking through the ground, just change the build mode. All right, all we need to do is align that, make sure we're feeling good about the placement. I am. Put this down, connect that. And now once this is powered up, we are feeding over here, but remember we need 4.5 producing steel pipes. So I'm gonna run this one at 150% once I put a power shard in. So 30 plus 20, 20, 20. So 30 plus 60 is 90. That's how many we need. So already our steel facility for 90 pipes is done, which is really reassuring because that's really the hardest part. Now we just need to pop over here and plumb up our copper. So this copper node will kind of cross over our encased industrial beam facility. We need to kind of get it past this area all the way over to this area, unless we're okay with our factory not really being in the same spot, but I'm not not. So I want to route it around here. The best way to do that is to just hop it over this line here. And the best way to do that, well, there's a lot of ways to do it, but one way that is kind of handy and doesn't look terrible at least, is to do the double lift move. So you throw a lift on like that, pull a lift down like that, and voila, you hopped it over. Again, it's not the cleanest. This is how you start getting, a little bit of that spaghetti vibe, but we will, I keep saying this, I swear, but we will clean it up. I promise. I promise. That 120 ore does need to be smelted and then turned into a bunch of wire. So let's get our smelter array going first, and then we'll do the rest. I did promise a little verticality on this one though, so why don't we do our copper processing on the floor above. So to have this facility look like it is not clipping, we need to go 3 wall tiles high, have it come out just about here or so. Maybe we can finish the rest of that later. All I really need is the ability to throw a second floor down and get up on that floor to work on it. And I'm gonna take the copper up right here. I'm using a 1 meter floor, so I don't have my simple blueprint that I can use to kind of spam this out right now, but it's not too hard to zoom out a bunch. What I like to do when I'm building vertically is throw down a lot more foundation than I think I'm gonna need, and then I'll trim it off later with the quick dismantle. All right, our copper is up here. I swear, these early blueprints are so handy to scale your playthrough, because I've got 4 smelter blueprint right here, nice and centered on my second floor. We'll pull it forward just a touch. We will connect our Mark III belt, and we are absolutely done with our smelting process here. And we're going to do our wire processing on this floor as well. And then just for fun, why don't we send all of that up to a 3rd floor for our stators and have it route back down for our final collection. So there's our output line. We're going to use our 4X constructor blueprint now. I'm going to toss that one right there. And since we need 8 constructors, because of course, each wire is only 15 ingots per minute for 30 wire. Well, we have 120 ingots divided by 15, that is 8. So we need to duplicate our 4X blueprint, which is why I like modular blueprints. You'll see a lot of people talk about modular blueprints. That is what this is. I can chain them together to extend them without having to do a massive rebuild. The only thing you got to keep in mind is oftentimes you won't need part of it, so you're just gonna have to delete that part. After a quick pit stop for some more concrete, I built out a 3rd floor here, and it doesn't look good. But what I want to do is keep this floor pretty clean. I need 6 assemblers to produce my 30 stators per minute. I'm going to try to keep this nice and centered and throw 6 assemblers down the line here. Okay, our assemblers are down. Let's set the recipes and wire it up. Okay, assemblers are up. I've put some floor holes and some lifts up. So we're going to have one of our inputs come from the floor below. That's going to be our wire. So I've also set up the sort of standard splitter system here. All of our wires coming out right here, 240 per minute. We have to put our final splitter on right here, taking our inputs in from, let's say, right there. It doesn't really matter. We'll bring a lift down. We'll have all of our wire come in over here, go up, and split all the way down the line. Now we need to get our pipe all the way up to the 3rd floor. So our pipe's coming out right here. I find it's more helpful to work from the top floor down. So I want my pipe coming right about here or so for my splitters, right? So let's say the splitter's coming down this way, and we can take our pipe in maybe right here. So we'll put a floor hole right there. We'll lift it up, and we're going to connect up all of our plumbing up here before we do it down there. All right, the future pipe belt work is actually done. What we need to do now is throw a floor hole right there. You can actually bypass through floors if you do it this way. Come down here. Looks like we got to extend this platform out just a touch. If you wanted to keep stuff off the floor, you could also come up like this, assuming you've unlocked wall conveyors and wall mounts, and you can actually do this, which to me I find to be just a touch cleaner, so I'm going to do that. See, look at that. Now that's up off the floor, which is a really nice look to me. Our last bit of belt work is really just getting our stators down to our fully loaded Dimensional Depot industrial storage container, which is just merging these outputs. Now we got to get our power set up. So what I like to do here is throw wall outlets down in a, I don't know, somewhat pleasing location. So I just have one input to the whole building, and I deal with all of the other power input over here. What's nice too about having the blueprints is I already have the internal power set up. And yeah, it doesn't look the best because you are using a power pole inside. You can update your blueprints to reflect a different style, and I'm going to show you in one of my upcoming blueprint guides on this channel, so definitely subscribe. But we can already see our foundry is producing steel straight out of the gate, and it is taking that and turning that into pipes already, sending it over here, up there, all the way up to our assemblers. But we still have to connect power for the second floor and the third floor. We can see our 90 pipe are just pumping their way through here. We can't see the wire yet because it's actually happening down here. So let's see if we've got any wire coming out. We do. We're gonna have to upgrade this just a touch because these blueprints were made in a world of Mark 1 belts. So I'm gonna upgrade these to Mark 3 because we're putting out quite a bit of wire, 240 a minute. So sometimes when you're using blueprints, you gotta make sure that you have upgraded all of the belts, especially if you built those blueprints a while ago. Otherwise, you're gonna have a hampered system without even knowing it. And look at that, we are speeding up way faster now. And we should start seeing stators spitting off of our production row here. Let's see what happens. I don't know about you guys, but it is so satisfying to watch that very first piece of production pop into the container after you've spent quite a bit of time engineering a facility. It is a very comforting feeling. Now, what I will say is we have successfully built a 3-story factory here, but does it look good? No, it looks like absolute garbage. That's because I just did the basic scaffolding. I don't have a lot of the architectural components. I haven't finished up the walls, but I do have the actual mechanics of the factory working. We have all of our steel going on down here. We have our copper up here, and then we have our final assembly stators right there. So excuse me while I do a touch of cleanup, and let's get on to our automated wiring. We cleaned it up a touch. Operative word being touch. It doesn't look that good still. I can build aesthetically, but it is not my absolute strength. My strength is sort of just very practically figuring out how to progress through the game. So all I did was add railings. I threw some metal beams on right there to clean up the power. And then I also threw, let's go through here, some of these structural beams down to provide a sense of support here. There's ways that you can clean this up even more, but I haven't unlocked those yet. And we've got a couple janky ladders coming around. We don't have any ability to add windows yet, so maybe in the next episode we will do our quartz facility because that just unlocks so much style and panache to your builds. But we have our 30 stators a minute. Look, we're producing quite a few of these guys. We are not going to run out anytime soon. We are loading up our dimensional depot right now. What's nice about these, by the way, is it'll throw whatever your capacity is in the stockpile, and it'll prep another stack ready to upload. So if I was to take my stators out, you'll notice there's 0. It's uploading these automatically, even if there weren't any in the facility down below, which is pretty handy, I have to say. So let's dump these back in here. We're going to be producing way more stators than we need at this phase of the game. Now all we need to do is create our automated wiring facility, which is really simple. It is not many stators a minute, like 2.5 stators a minute and 50 cable. So we need to track down another copper ore node. To produce 50 cable, we actually only need 50 copper ore because of the way that the math works. Basically, you double your ingot input to create wire. So you go from 50 ingots to 100 wire, and then you compress that back down to 50 cable. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. However much cable you need, you just need exactly that much ore. And we are sort of in luck here because we didn't have to do too much overclocking over here. We're getting 120 out. So if I tossed another one in here and went to 170, just like this, we would be producing enough copper here for not only the wire that we need for our stators, but also the wire that we need for our cables. All right, what I've done, guys, is I have overclocked by 50% to produce 180 copper ore a minute. Remember, I need 120 to fill all of my wire constructors over there for my stator factory, and I need 60, well, really 50 for my cable factory that's yet to be built to create my automated wiring. That's what I'm combining those stators with. Stators and cable will make that automated wiring over there. So what I need to do is take this 180 and split 120 off of it, send it down here, split another 60 off, and start making some cables. Fortunately, that is actually very easy because all I need to do is toss a splitter out, let's say right here. We'll bring our belt over right there. And all I really need is a merger over here accepting 2 of these outputs, because remember, this is a splitter with 3 potential outputs. So 180 in would be 60 out on each side. So I'll just split this one over this way and combine those 2 to form the 120 this way. All right, let's get a quick cable facility going. This is a very simple build. It is just smelters, then constructors, then constructors. So we don't need a whole lot of these automated wiring at this phase of the game, at least, but I would recommend that every single space elevator part that you end up making, you keep that factory running, because you will be surprised at how many you'll end up needing later on in the game. So let's pull our wire out of here. We'll pull a stator line off of this, and we will just put up one assembler, and we'll throw it to a depot over here. And there you have it. Our cable, our stators, our automated wiring is being produced at 2.5 a minute. We already have 2 of them. We need 100. So 100 divided by 2.5, it'll take us about 40 minutes to get that completed. And while we're waiting, we should check on our versatile framework and see how far we've gotten. If we've done our job correctly, yes, our truck or tractor is still chugging away, because last episode we built a nice fueling station here, so it should never run out of fuel. Our coal is coming in perpetually over there. Let's see how much we're working with as far as our versatile framework. Oh wow, we are almost done. So it is 50 times 8, that's 400, 800. We have 810 right now. So we're very, very close to the end of phase 2. And that's where we're gonna wrap it for today's episode, guys. We have shown you how to get pretty much from the start of the game to the end of phase 2 right now. When we unlock phase 3, there's gonna be some absolutely incredible stuff that makes the game, quite frankly, a lot more enjoyable to play, and it's been pretty fun so far. So this has been the Green Hand Games, first person to guess my identity. I'm a YouTuber with about 3.5 million subscribers. Will get a free copy of Deluxe Satisfactory on whatever platform you consume this game on. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next time. Good luck and peace.